Well, I'm intrigued why my grandmother would choose to use the name Dewey instead of Logan, which was her name, and where did she get Dewey from, what did it mean to her? And I'm heading into Huckle now, her birthplace, just outside Ballymena, to hopefully find out.
Well, there's a Logan funeral services. There's Logan the butcher.
Oh, there's Logan.
Oh, Logan, there's a Logan's, yeah.
Parish records from the time of Mary's birth are still held at a Huckle church.
Okay, so initially we're looking for baptism records.
Yes, we're looking for the baptism of Mary
Logan or Dewey.
Or Dewey, yes, because we don't know what name she would have been baptised under.
I'll do this one if you do that one. Higgintodd, no. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Logan. Mary Jane, that is her. 1872.
No, Father. All of the information that we have about Mary Logan fits. And Mary Jane, when you were looking at the baptismal records, she did record herself as Mary Jane a number of times.
Yeah.
And Margaret as well. Mary Jane's mother was Margaret Logan. Now, Mary Jane named her first child Margaret, which was not uncommon for people to take the name of their mother for the first female child.
Mind you, there were only about 5 names in the world, it seems.
For people to use.
Mary's baptism record shows that her mother was Margaret Logan. But she was unmarried, and there is no listing of the father's name. Graham and Nicola search the records for Mary's brothers and sisters to see if a father is registered there.
Oh, here's a Logan. Oh.
And it's a Margaret Logan.
And it's a Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
The register shows that Margaret had a son 2 years before Mary was born.
And there's something written above the...
Oh, yes. What's that now? Something Dewey.
Fred, but it looks like it has been scratched out a little bit.
Samuel's father is recorded as Fred Dooey. But there is no record of a marriage. Could Fred also be Mary's father?
That would certainly explain why Mary is using the name Dewey, if he was also her father.
But why, if he was her father, didn't she put him down on the marriage cert?
Well, it was scratched out here, so it may have been that he didn't want to be recorded as the father. It's possible that they weren't. It seems unlikely that they were married if we've got 2 surnames.
When Margaret was giving birth to Mary and Samuel in the 1870s, less than 3% of children were born to unmarried mothers. Such women were often ostracized or driven from their community. But sometimes, if the family rallied round, a scandal could be avoided. Still, it was a rare and defiant woman who bore more than one child outside marriage. Graham and Nicola continue to search the register to see if Margaret had any other illegitimate children.
Oh, there's a Logan.
And that's George. And again, there's no father's name recorded
and
here.
No
occupation. And that's 1876. It's strange. I mean,
because again, this is 4 years since she had that other child.
Yeah, and she's now had 3 children outside of marriage. We're presuming they will all be the children of Frederick.
Well, it's weird that the only whiff of Frederick is the first
one.
Was she stupid enough to have more children? You think 3 might have taught her a lesson. She might have found out how it was happening by then. Logan. Andrew in 78. It's amazing, isn't it?
There's 4. Well,
now, is this unusual?
would be quite unusual, yes.
You know, you get away with one.
Normally find that...
You could hide the bump and maybe go visit an aunt. But
yes.
4 kids over a space of 8 years.
Yeah, and she's living in the same place. And she's obviously involved in the community. So it is something presumably that's been accepted in the area or been accepted by her family.
It's amazing. You know, my great-great-grandmother, as far as we can see, had at least 4 children out of wedlock. Growing up in rural southern Ireland, where Catholicism was a greater influence, the things I found out today would have been scandalous. You know, Margaret would have been, either she'd gone to stay with an aunt in Galway or something. You know, she'd have just disappeared for 9 months and come back with no baby because it was up for adoption, or she'd have gone to England and she'd have had an abortion. So, like I said, I'm sort of astonished, but equally kind of chuffed, really, that they didn't behave like that, because they were obviously genuinely nice people. A little bit easy, a little bit slutty, but nice, you know. And they took care of these kids, and there must have been a really strong sense of community. I'm so glad now, because before I thought that my great-grandmother must have had a terrible wedding. 8 months pregnant in that big church in Ballymena. And now you realise she was the golden girl. She was getting married. And she didn't even have a baby yet. So Ireland's obviously a more complicated place than I thought. You know, like I thought up here in the north was very kind of black and white. That, you know, I suppose because of the religious bigotry and all of that, you just thought it was real kind of batten down the hatches and very hard line. And so I think that's my impression of it. And clearly that isn't what it was like. It was a far more ebb and flow religious community than I ever knew.